perfect is an impossible task. And in trying to be perfect, you're probably much less likable.
From your experience then, from the challenges you had growing up to where you are now, what would you say are 3 truths that young women need to know about what's holding them back in life in general?
I think that young women need to, the main thing holding them back is their relationship with their emotions.
Really?
Yes. Think about all the things people say to women about their emotions. Like, oh yeah, I mean, let's just be real. They're like, you're on your period. Of course you're emotional and mean to people. And this, it's like, we actually give ourselves like a 7-day pass to be an emotional wreck. Actually, my life changed when I stopped doing that. So it's like the first thing I think is, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you cannot regulate your emotions just like anybody else. Is it harder? Yes, but then that means you have the chance to get more skills. You will be more skilled than the men at regulating your emotions if you learn how to regulate them. And so for me, I think like learning to manage your emotions and having a good relationship with them, not allowing them to dictate your life and how you act and become excuses for why you act out in certain ways. Like a lot of women, you see all the memes and things out there, it's like, yeah, be crazy. It's like, yeah, funny, but also like not funny. Like for me to achieve the goals that I have in life and in business, I can't have my employees be like, yeah, be acting crazy today.
Right. They need to respect you and need to, yeah.
And nobody wants an unstable leader. So like for women to lead, it's very hard to be unstable. Where's instability come from? Inability to regulate your emotions. And so I think that's the first thing is don't listen to what people say about how you just can't because of your hormones and because of this, because you can, it just will be harder.
But what if, Leila, that people are saying, well, that seems very unapproachable because my body is, expressing itself to me, or I just feel like the world is throwing so much chaos at me that it's impossible to regulate emotions. She's out of touch. She's got money. She's got people that help her with things. I don't have that help or that money. So it's exhausting to regulate emotions. What would you say to that?
It is harder for some people than others. It might be harder for women. It might be harder when you have less resources. It is not impossible. You have less skills. I think it is harder the less skilled you are. Some people are incredibly skilled and they've learned it they had great frames growing up. They had great mothers. They had great fathers to look up to. Some people didn't. And so for those people, it's harder. It's more exhausting. But what would you rather have? A life that is perpetually capped by the fact that you can't regulate your emotions? Or a year of learning that is exhausting, but at the end of it, you realize you can achieve your dreams because you learned how to do this.
You become someone new.
Yeah.
In that process,
Yeah, and I didn't have all the resources I have now when I was learning this. And by the way, money doesn't help you learn how to regulate your emotions.
No.
I mean, once you have money, you've got lawsuits, you've got people trying to take your money, you've got people trying to steal your money. I mean, it's just same problems, they just look different.
And bigger.
Yeah, and so
that's the first truth that you'd say.
Yeah, that's the first truth I would say.
What's the second thing that holds women back?
Fear of judgment. I think so many women, I met with, when I first started making content, I met with a creator, I'll just say, somebody who quite a famous person who had a wife who also made content in the space. And I said, do you have any advice for me? Because I want to make content because I think that it would help me get the right people on my team. I think that it's something I've wanted to do. It's like, I want to help people avoid the things that I have learned. But what would you say? And this person and one other person that were very large male influencers said the same thing. They were like, you just can't care so much how you look. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're both like, what stopped my wife is she just won't be recorded without any makeup on. And I was like, huh. And so, I've thought about that and I really recognize it because I like to have my hair and makeup done, but I'm not going to make it a necessity to get things done. Like we do vlogging where it's like, it's like they're vlogging me and I'm like, yeah, I do not look good in that vlog. And
you still judge yourself though. You're still
yeah, right. But the thing that I've realized is if I act the opposite of that, so if I allow people to capture me without makeup, if I don't wear makeup to work every day, if I don't do my hair and look perfect every day, then the thoughts of judgment start to get less loud. And so I think for a lot of women, we're so fearful of being judged for for not upholding the standards that society puts on us. And it's not the standards that are the problem. It's the fear of the standards and the judgment that we put on ourselves about them. You know, men also have standards that they fear to fail or fear that they're not living up to. Everyone does. I think that just for women, the ones that hold them back are the ones that I look at and I just say, like, is it making it harder or easier for me to achieve my goals if I judge myself for this? And for me, usually it makes it harder to achieve my goals if I'm judging myself every moment that I'm on camera, every moment that I'm making content, because I see those women, it's like they can put out a lot less. And when you put out a lot less content and you're not able to show up in front of your team unless you look a certain way and you do all these things, well, then you get less practice at doing that thing. And I think it just all stems from judgment, because, I mean, you would be shocked at the amount of people that are just afraid to be on camera because they're not the exact weight that they want. They don't look like a thin model. They don't look like, you know, what beauty standards are today. And that actually stops women from being in business, showing up the way they want, you know, speaking on stages, doing podcasts, making content. It's this fear of judgment.
Yeah.
And I think that before you change, because maybe it is good if you lose weight. Maybe it is good if you, you know, learn this, that. But that is separate from the fear of judgment of others for not being perfect all the time.
Right. And the third thing?
Third truth for women. You know, I think that it's probably learning that perfect is an impossible task. And in trying to be perfect, you're probably much less likable. You know, I think for a long time, I just tried to be what everybody else wanted me to be.
Really?
To be perfect in the eyes of everyone. Like, how can I be the perfect leader? How can I be the perfect wife? How can I be the perfect boss? How can I be the perfect friend? How can I be the perfect daughter? And that led me to be miserable, which actually led me to be less liked by everybody. Because I was just trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be, rather than what I wanted to be.
Right. You weren't being authentic to yourself.
No. I'm like, maybe I am a bad daughter at times. I don't call my dad sometimes for weeks. Maybe I am a bad friend, because I don't text my friends back for sometimes a week or two. And sometimes I'm like, I just don't feel like talking. Like, maybe I am a bad boss because today I canceled my meeting with somebody. Like, I think I've had to accept that at times we are all the opposite of what we want to be. And that's okay. And so, like, the best advice I could give anyone is, like, I call it the I am bad frame. I am bad. At times in certain circumstances. Like, at times in certain circumstances, I am bad at something. Or I am a bad wife, a bad boss, a bad friend. And? You know? Mm-hmm. And I think for a long time, even just saying I'm a bad boss, like and visceral reaction, because I was just like, I put so much pressure on myself to be the perfect boss. But the reality is that if you want to be great at anything, you're going to be imperfect, judged, and disliked at times.
Yeah.
And I think specifically for women, especially because I think there's a desire to please people, that is very hard for women specifically.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.